A careful, bold hypothesis. Reasonable doubt subversion history. Hello everyone, I'm Chin Chiping. Again today to help you subvert history. What today's theme is to subvert it. That's Ming Dynasty Ming Bowen. Our folklore or 2 words. Zhuge Liang, third of the world. Bowen dominate the landscape. That is to say 2 legendary stories. There is nothing wrong in Chinese history. The 2 men called the most of his crafty plan figures. Numerous legends about them. Previously, we talked about that at the time of Zhuge Liang. Also mentioned that Bowen dissatisfied with 2 people side by side. Also particularly find ways. Go to find Zhuge Liang's tomb. Finally found. The results open the coffin a look. Zhuge Liang no bones inside. With only 1 stone. 5 words written above. Only Bowen too. Let loss for his crafty plan of Zhuge Liang. Is willing to lose under the wind. Well, this certainly is later edited out of busybodies. But the legend of the civil. Can also see. Bowen mines in the private sector. Zhuge Liang is really catching up. In fact, we opened the Ming Dynasty. Liu Bowen group described for. Say can be found. His childhood was really clever and smart. So here we can see the second line. His teacher has a special speak to his father. Ju thick this child will carry on the king's gate. Meaning that Bowen can honor to the family. And it is said in the relevant historical materials inside. Also mention that Bowen can all 7 lines down. Meaning that he opened the book page. One can see the word 7 lines. You see this and other reading ability is not too high people do. And he did not just read an alarming rate. He also has the ability to look over not forget the so-called. It is said that he was 15 years old when entering the County Xiang. County Xiang is the meaning of Fushui, his teacher Spring. Spring we know the writings of Confucius. Very hard to learn. It is said that after Liu Bowen read it twice, it can be completely silent. But also, despite their meaning to interpret, her previously unknown predecessors, his teacher was amazed listening. Bowen said should think. Long ago learned it. Also particularly random few pages, point paragraphs let him see for solution. What to know Bowen are talking about. Do their own interpretation of their own, it could not help but let his teacher call him a genius or a prodigy. And so he did not forget to look over the ability of. There is also a very interesting legend in the folk. Bowen said young. Most of the capital of the Yuan Dynasty had to go. A bookshop open book. And seeing one day very interested instruments. He turned over to put it all finished. But also the way back up, bookstore owner to see him so badly. Since you say back up, I simply sent a hello. The results Bowen told him. I have been back over what used to be the book. You see that you never forget. Is not it quite surprising? And never forget such an ability. Later, he even told his crafty plan of supernatural powers. Great relationship, how to say? It is said that he had once mounted over there to meditate. The results of meditation, when suddenly found, there in front of a typesetting, written on top of the mountain to the base open. Lu Ji, this is his name. Hill based open mean I went to the front. Mountain will open it for me. So he tends to go very curious. And he went before the mountain. Actually opened the door to. He went into the tunnel inside. Go to a secret room. The middle of the chamber. There is a Taoist priest lying there. He was referring to a book. Then Bowen on the past. Picked it up that book. Turned out to be an art of war. At this point the priest said to him. If you came before tomorrow. All the book back out. I put all my ability to teach you Bujuan. The question is never forget. Bowen is the most adept ability. So Bowen easily reached the priest's requirements. Later, the priests, he put all his crafty plan skill. Teach Bowen. One-click results Bowen. Later it became known 500 years ago. After 5 centuries of human knowledge of God, that story is folklore. That it is very ridiculous, right? But it does. Liu Bowen in the private sector have the ability to know the future, also displayed in 3 areas. Okay, we have to ask what good 3. The first is that the risk of battlefield. 4C. How should I say according to Ming history records? Ming Emperor had personally rushed to the rescue Anfeng. Bowen said he was prevented. If you go, then rush to the rescue Anfeng, is likely to be to take advantage of Yuliang attack. Do not listen to the emperor. After the result was not really listen. Yuliang to send soldiers to lay siege to Honduras. At that time the emperor listened regret to say. June do not listen to a few words Shurji. Meaning that, I do not listen to you. The results came close to losing plan. So then he led the army. Hongdu quickly to the rescue. With Yuliang war in Poyan Lake. Well, this time on the show Bowen. The ability to know the future. Because at that time, Hu Ming Emperor sat on the bed supervise operations. Lu Group never complained. The results of this Bowen, do not know why suddenly shouted flee. Go on for another vessel. The results of this first Ming Emperor just for the good ship. The results fly over a shell. The ship had hit sitting. If there is no loss for words of warning. The Emperor has long been smashed in. It is buried in the bottom of the lake, so this thing will later become Bowen's dangerous battlefield. Foretell classic case. The second point is to say that in addition to Bowen trend for war, it is possible to know the future. How to say? The same is recorded in the Ming Dynasty. It is said that after Chen Yuliang lay Pacific, he was very arrogant powers. So the emperor's general Shadexia. Some argue that it should be surrendered. Some argue that it should be run away. Among this group of people on Bowen arrogance alone speaks. Staring eyes is not talking. Notice that the emperor. So put him in the room to go to secret talks. This time it is angry, said Liu Bowen. Who advocated surrender and flee? He should be beheaded. Of course the emperor would ask him to say, could you have a good plan? Bowen told about this time, as long as we set up an ambush to lure him deeply. After then ambush them. Can beat Yuliang. So then, Bowen's plan to use the emperor. Sure enough, the army came to lure Yuliang. They'd break Yuliang military, so later on generous rewards Bowen. So you can see who made this place. Bowen can really grasp the trend of the battlefield. And he was not only able to grasp the trend of the battlefield, he also mastered the development of human life count. How to say? Previously had inside Ming history records say, after claiming Song Chao Huang Han Lin child family. So when the uprising of the pack upon his chiefs are away, at that time the Central Secretariat also set up a special seat. Then we come away from the worship. He is to salute, but in the process all together in worship. Bowen is not alone worship, he said it. Han Lin child, but this is just a shepherd boy. Why do you regard him as a spiritual leader and worship him? So to see the emperor was also particularly. Tell him where destiny. It is printed on the emperor. If you do not know the future ability Bowen, Zhu Yuanzhang know how ordinary civilians, it is where the fate of the. So this thing, appreciating knowledge and ability but also to Liu Bowen, and know the future has been confirmed. There is a third piece of the ability to know the future, is a major event for 500 years. Can be talking about. We all know what to say. Bowen has a prophetic book called The Song of Biscuits. The origin of this song Biscuits, really full of amazing how should I say. That is, once the emperor ate biscuits in the sanctuary. Oh just bite. Eunuch said suddenly return. National Division Bowen to an audience. At that time the emperor put the eat a bowl of biscuits covered with. Then Bowen called in. Then you asked him to guess. This built inside what is it? Bowen results Kayaziazuan. Say 2 words. It seems like half day come half months. Golden Dragon was a bite. This should be food bar. The results open a look. Sure enough, bite biscuits. Is not exactly hit it. This time the emperor curious. Bowen, since you can. What is predicted there? Then we Ming Dynasty. What happens behind the 500 years? Can you talk about watching? So then in two people being asked and answer. The fortune 500 years after the Ming Dynasty. Speak out. Later this speech is recorded. It is edited into a song called Biscuits. So this song Biscuits has become well-known prophecy. However, some people will feel that this song should not really fry. Why? Because official history does not record Xiaobing song content of the book, and in two important book collection documents inside, including the Onla de Dian with Sikuquanchu, are not included into this song Biscuits. So this song is really fried as book it. Bowen is doing it. Many people are skeptical, think it should be private charlatans. Bowen is done through the medium of. But despite such words, for dangerous battlefield prophetic, as well as to know the future trends of war, these 2 points should also got it. It also doubted, right? But some people think that says, such a god machine Yaswan. In fact, the emperor is compiled out. How to say? Well, let's look at the reasons for it. That is basically the emperor. We all know that he was originally a commoner, later decided to conquer the world. How can he convince everyone to make it? The best way is to tell you. He is Mr. Right is where the fate of the. But how to let people believe it? He thought of his past experience when wandering monk. Because during this period, he took about 3 years to wander. Must have seen a lot of the way. Trickster methods steal Mongolia abduction. It therefore does. Later, he decided to scramble in the world. Must have thought, said, I use such a mysterious way to win the trust of the people, preferably also possible to create his crafty plan of military advisor to his assistant. I strengthen my persuasive. I like this is the real thing. To win the number of lives the world. It can be believed. Later, the emperor went to see Liu Bowen. Two people may have about the matter. Bowen is likely to also believes that this is necessary. Also with the emperor, so then the emperor gave his own. Survived all the credit. All piled in a loss for the body. That is why I would say, the emperor is fabricated it. Since the inside of the Ming Dynasty described, in fact, you can break how do you say? If Bowen. Really prophetic words. Of course he knew he offers suggestions. The emperor would not listen. Now that the emperor did not even listen, he had to do to prevent in advance, or to turn out just fine. How will let the emperor said? Do not listen to June words such thing as a few shurji. Right. Good again. If calculated in war Po Yan Lake Bowen. Zhu Yuanzhang encountered danger. It was not in the beginning when the war. He should recommend the emperor. Do not catch the boat. How will take the ship? In going to hit. Before being hit by the shells a few minutes. Just quickly change the ship. What do you say this is not? Let the emperor caught in dangerous it was to save him. If Bowen can really know the future, it will do so hasty. So in fact this place, but also for the local people questioned. So from the point of view of these two things, then, after all survived afterwards. Later, these will be pushed to all the credit. Bowen on his crafty plan. You do not know that there is no reason. And I said, the emperor would like this trickster. This is not the only thing. But on other things. He had done it before, how should I say? We say that the emperor is concerned, in order to be able to get the world to make their own. Become deeds of Mr. Right. More people are convinced. In particular, he personally wrote an article called The Imperial Dream in Mind. Note that this imperial dream and what did it? Said that he had had a dream. Rodak dreamed to see him three clear. And inside the priests, he also gave special real clothes and real sword. After that he then suddenly wake up. Next year you can go to the throne in the southern suburbs of the throne. Meaning that Rodak is three clear of this destiny to him. That he is the real thing. He ascended the throne only way to the throne. It is not that spreading rumors. The trickster it. If someone then say so, you will find it nonsense. This is the language of God, stick right. Okay, the emperor said. And the emperor is the emperor only say. You can say that he is really. It can be said that he is a fake, but this dream does. Who says who count right thing? Who dare to question? Emperor as dreams are fake, right? So from this place, you can see it. To make himself emperor. Ming Dynasty ruled more people convinced of the legitimacy, made up of many stories. Provision is also made out of this dream. Anyone who can see this dream, that this is the trickster of the language. I do not know whether you agree, however talked about this place, we should mention in passing say, his record in this imperial dream. Admission because they have been taught destiny. He says that he is so mucked in Fazu. So later on that decree, there will be 2 words. Kill carrier Emperor Chao said. Okay, we are generally on the historical drama. See when someone read out the decree of. These 2 words are mentioned. The 2 sentences later did become. Unit customization read time. But the historical drama punctuate. Seems to punctuate with true method. Is not opposed to how do you say. We in historical drama, he saw all these 8 words. Not to split into 2 pairs. Chao said the emperor said kill carrier. But the fact of punctuation should not be read so. Why it should read the law correctly. Correctly read the law should be kill carrier Emperor Chao said. Why good? Because the emperor said, I was emperor from kill carrier. And what I say is called Zhao Yu. So my emperor. Chao said the emperor is kill carrier fishes. So you, if you see a historical drama after reading, kill carrier Emperor Chao said when. Remember this is read the law wrong. Do not just repeating it for good. Then again that we'll see another. Bowen associated with a story. Called the August 15 Kill the Tartars. That this story later became the origin of Mid-Autumn Festival mooncake. That's how it happened. That is, after the Mongols' white ghost oppressed the people is very brutal no way. At that time people have suffered uprising against the decision. But the uprising against, in case the Mongols know. But that would provoke the scourge of killing. So kind of event, the secret to how to deliver it. So where there is a wise man, figure out a way. This approach is in everyone eat cake inside. Stuff to note. That which is written. In the autumn to kill the Tartars kill rebel. So when we eat the bread of Saw. Such a convention has signal. So we really in this day in the autumn. Uprising against the Yuan Mongols off really smoothly. That is what we call the Tartars on the right. Okay, but where? Who made this clever way of it? It is said that Liu Bowen good. But that this story, the origin itself is very questionable. Because some scholars say later found. This story, although mentioned in many writings have, like, say trade-off Gingshengdaishi, their Tao Zongi the cease cultivation recorded, and Yi Ziki Grass Musi. But these books are private miscellany. Its historical authenticity is not worthy of trust. That in the literature of the Ming and Qing, and there is no specific mention this story. So in the end the story is true. It is doubtful the after further exploration found scholars say it is the prototype of this story should come from the early Yuan Su Big Billy Ember I recorded, because they're inside Ember I recorded mentioned that Suzhou that plays people. Mongols were oppressed. So beneath them angry, Mongolia decided to counter-revolt. Therefore, there is such a description of the story. But after the book written, did not print and publish, until when will print and publish it? Qianlong period of time to print and publish it. So this story, at least to the reign of Emperor Qianlong, it was only known. And after people began to circulate, continuously processed, until the late Qing dynasty when the formation of the so-called August 15 Kill the Tartars origin story. Okay, the question is why when the late Qing dynasty, this story will appear, make it complete. The reason is because, to the late Qing dynasty to resist anti-patriots, so they look for folk-related materials. Accidentally found this book. This book can be used to take advantage of that, so he put the anti-Mongolian story. Reinvent the Bowen said there exist. Come and tell you that we can actually follow the same way revolted to resist the rule of the Qing dynasty. So this story to be complete and well-known words to the late Qing dynasty to the fastest when it is shaped. That's because the baseless assertion shaping later passed down to become as we know it. The origin of the mid-autumn moon cake. So this story August 15 Kill the Tartars not only has nothing to do with Bowen offer is not made. And it is this folk-shaped. The earliest to the late Qing dynasty, in fact the custom of eating moon cake, there have been long ago. Just a note to tell a story in a folder inside. To the late Qing dynasty was known. So nothing to do with Bowen for his crafty plan. I do not know say. Is not it also subvert the people's awareness? That being talked about August 15 Kill the Tartars. We could not help but to be mentioned in passing. Another with Bowen. Legend of a great relationship. That is the legend of Ghost Month. Because the origin of Ghost Month, in the private sector there mentioned that network data. In fact, Bowen offer is made. Because it was in December in July down. It is said that the emperor in order to monopolize this month. Bowen I called you to think of a way. So later on Bowen in particular password to say, July is the day to drop evil ghost month. Also because in that case, later in folklore, we would not dare in July when the burial. Well because July is the ghost month, the network information that, the origin of such a story, among the records which book it. In this book there's of Peter Wang. But also inside a special primer. Can you Qing Jiang Dahong division of Tianyuan 5 songs? To support his claim is true. It contains 2 words. Ancient emperor was buried July. Shirshu then Yula Bukwang. Say you see, ancient emperor were buried July. So really lucky month July. So then will be. Bowen said to be the ghost month. Is to make the emperor exclusive. But such a statement. In fact, later refuted by others. Why? Peter Wang's book because of the previously mentioned. I checked. This book did not exist. No trace could test, even if the book is really good. That is personal private miscellaneous writings. I have the final say Of course I'll just make up some. In my favor write information, so even if this book exists, there is no reference value. Inside again mention that ancient emperor was buried July. Let's say that looking through the historical data can be found. This argument is wrong. How to say? To see the inside of right's kingship. There are 2 words specifically mentioned. It is said that the emperor's 7 days and funeral and burial July. What does it mean? After the emperor died within 7 days to encoffining. After the coffin before burial 7 months. So why coffin tingling 7 months? The reason is because you want with officials throughout the princes to worship. Since ancient times the traffic inconvenience, so you let them have a chance. One last time to see the emperor. This is why. After the emperor to stop the coffin 7 months, the reason was buried, so this ancient emperor was buried July. In July, when not buried, but only to be parked 7 months after burial. So that if one data looks. That said, quoted earlier, ancient emperor was buried July. This statement, of course, go to. So July is the ghost month argument. Nothing to do with Bowen, has nothing to do with the emperor. Of course everyone will wonder. That ghost month of July is how this came. In fact, July is the ghost month argument. Since ancient times, the almanac did not mention all. Until the Qing almanac also not documented. Then you ask, when will it have historical records? I turned a bit, the earliest to Lin Yatang time. General history of Taiwan and writing only mentioned roughly similar practices. It mentioned that there are 2 sentences. It said Zhang Quan is still very popular ghost. What does it mean? This means that, in August, when the first year of Xianfeng, Zhang Quan fights. Because of fights. There are a lot of people died in the fights this. Later, local people in order to appease the 2 parties. To overcome hatred. When he says that we do together. Well, transgression grand puja. To worship the spirits of those killed unjustly. Later this custom evolved into practices. Held every year. That this is happening in the southern region. Zhang Quan this place. Later, we all know what to say. Zhang Quan here are a lot of immigrants. Come here to settle, move to Taiwan. That they also custom home. Also brought this place. So it has become such a. In July and August, when customs held a grand puja. That was such a custom. But also combines the ghost festival of Tek. Because ghost inside Tek, there is a special ceremony. In other words, when the first lunar month will open the door niche. The purpose was to open the door niches to these bones. The remains of our ancestors into them. Then wait until the July 30th time. Then this niche door. However, this approach a door switch niches. Later far-fetched people will switch to ghosts. Therefore, such a switch ghosts, coupled have held July. Custom transgression grand puja. Under a combined 2-phase. It becomes a Zhongyuan Purdue. That is the origin of the lunar year is ghost of the month. So in the Japanese colonial era, it has a so-called old habits survey used to survey old. Among the old inertia survey, Taiwan's customs are investigated again, turn out. There's the ghost month of July, said not many places. Only a few. This represents, at least, to the Japanese occupation. July is the ghost month argument, not universal right. So ghost month is July. In fact, in recent decades is the product of, that it has nothing to do with Bowen. Bowen offer is not made. I do not know of such a statement, is not it also subverts everyone, misinterpretation come from network data. It therefore, after seeing a ghost month of July, then, I remember nothing to do with Bowen, the emperor has nothing to do with good month exclusive Kyrgyzstan. Then we go back to Bowen itself. Later retire after Bowen died in his hometown. Enjoy life when he died 65 years. But on his death. But later opinions. I investigated a bit. There are probably 3 different views. The first is that he died. Died of illness. Old age will certainly dead. The second is said to be Prime Minister Hu Weiyong poisoned to kill him. The third argument is to say, indeed the Prime Minister Hu Weiyong poisoned, but the Emperor's ordered. Why are there 3 different versions? Let's look at the record in the history of the Ming well. History of the Ming sure has mentioned that, after Bowen's sick, Hu Weiyong took back his physician doctor. After reading the patient prescribed a medicine, Bowen eat. Feel his stomach inside. Seems to have accumulated a large stone fist over there. Did not take long pass away. So that's dead in the Ming Dynasty records. But there is this thing follow. Later, Huiyong confessed because of confidants say. In fact, Huiyong, when we go to visit Liu Bowen, the poison killed him. So there is that the last sentence, said lethal toxic cloud base. There is such a statement. Okay, logically speaking, it should be the right Huiyong poison. Well, it is interesting that, when this time his henchmen to report, the emperor saw no verification. No check directly to the charges. And him to Huiyong. Huiyong said killed Bowen. I want to ask, why not verify the emperor? I believe this is absolutely confident words. Is 100% correct, or says he believes. Huiyong anyways Zhu Yuanzhang. This is a do not care to pay more, or more likely. In fact, he is the mastermind behind. Have nothing to investigation. Anyway, I ordered the right. So thousands of years. These three divergent claims. We have different opinions proposition. So we take a look at network data. Because there is a network information that in recent years, the real person is killed Emperor Liu Bowen. How to say? The network data say. South Korea has a scholar surnamed Chen, come up with a cache of 600 years of letters. In these 600 years there are specifically mentioned letter. Huiyong dialogue with the emperor. Dialogue is how it. That was the emperor sent Huiyong. Bowen went to visit him to see. Before leaving this time Huiyong. In particular, to see emperor, say some words. Sincerity Bo is meritorious person but grown arrogant. The illness is probably not last long. This time the emperor told him. People do not suffer the disease mill. This means that the disease is too weary. Or do not let him continue to suffer well. Huiyong is said to hear. The implication of the emperor. Later will poison altogether. The loss for the kill. Do not let him suffer. That this passage. It is obvious I can see it. The real mastermind behind. Well, emperor is right. Good, but we have to ask. If this is so confidential letter home. Why is the place to South Korea? South Korean scholar surnamed Chen in the hands of it. Network dated also mentioned. He said that in fact there is a man Huiyong. Ning called the capable hands. This is with Ning Huiyong. A person who makes up the poison. Bowen killed. So later Ning killed Bowen. Very disturbed mind. After also fear afterwards became public. They have been caused by the whole clan. So he ordered precautionary. First with a large amount of money to bribe Korean ambassador. Korean ambassador to please his younger son. North Korea brought a refuge. Chin is leaving a bloodline. Later, specially to the letter home. This small collection called Secret Son. In case for need. That is in case anyone wants to threaten you if. Take this letter to you counter. Later, Huiyong rebel. Ning suffered implicated. Sure enough, the whole clan, but the younger son. Therefore, escaped unharmed but, later this life will be good to this letter. That this network information that is certainty. But we have to ask so it really is. I checked. This is a letter. Absolutely no image data released out. So in the end this is a letter to the existence of. Nobody knows. And who is this Korean scholar surnamed? I checked. No one knows what name he is. That. Even the man in the end it really exists. It also is not known. Since people cannot find it. They do not see this letter. This is a statement that is true of network data. Well, it would go too. So this information that Bowen is the emperor killed. Basically fiction out of thin air. But Liu Bowen in the end how dead it? I personally think. How do you say should be the correct dead? Huiyong killed before in Bowen. In fact, he made a movement. Bowen is framed. Bowen said he was framed. Tomb do for yourself king of the king gas. That the king on behalf of gas, well, he may have evil intentions. Later this thing so Hu Yong tell the emperor. Then we have to ask, Hu Yong made clear if we should kill. To poison a loss for words. Why do the framing of action? Directly killed just fine. Okay, we'll look at next. Is it possible that the emperor harm it? The emperor ordered it, after Hu Yong falsely accused Liu Bowen. You see how the emperor said, though the crime base, however, rather than the movable capture YL lock. What does it mean to say mean? Although he did not really blame Bowen, but also touched the hearts. After all, you know that the art of feng shui, and also people call this crafty plan, it is not really a little skillet. Well, like this, I do not really think that you do, but I take your phone Lu removed, meant to give you a warning. In case you really have to do so, so it is not a. So this take this Lu phone is warning you, even if you have this ability, do not people know is. Do not really do it on the right. That if the emperor Bowen made clear, then we must kill. Why does he do a this warning action right? In fact, since retire after Bowen would never do other, can cause fear of what the emperor of the. So like this to say, Hu Yong emperor ordered to kill Liu Bowen. Personally, I really doubt. That is to say doctors. Bowen should cause of death was liver cancer. How should I say because he said Bowen medication during. He felt that the symptoms, just like the case of liver cancer onset of symptoms similar, but also more considered itself says Bowen. Jiaruchu. Bowen said it had asked the emperor. Is not possible when using Hu Yong. Bowen said no, this person cannot be used. The results do not listen to the emperor. When the prime minister or with Hu Yong, it is said that after watching Liu Bowen, angry to say, I hope my words do not come true. That's a blessing for common people. Because he thought, Hu Yong will commit crimes is on the right. Anger was also therefore for the disease. Meaning that, anger leads to illness on the right. Seen in this light so, his depressive symptoms, or that he's such a disease. Anger is his endless half came. Right. That would certainly make his liver disease worse. Again we can see that. Inside the Ming Dynasty have mentioned that, his belly had accumulated stone fist. Such a symptom. In fact, doctors also say, consistent with the symptoms of advanced cirrhosis. So whether it is a loss for because anger get liver disease, or that he later anger increased because the liver disease, all represent say his death. There should be a great relationship with this disease. So I personally prefer to say, Bowen died is normal and correct. That do not know whether we all agree. That Bowen's death. Later, his tomb gone it. This is a problem. Folklore says Bowen when he died, made 36 coffins. Points to the cemetery at 36, that you heard this story will know. That's when I speak before the tomb. Chow 36-story replica of suspected mass graves. Right. So this argument is inadmissible. But Liu Bowen in Chinese mainland. Indeed there are currently more than a dozen tomb, but after research scholars, the vast majority are believed memorial tomb. Not really tomb, the real tomb, should still be at a loss for the home. Because Ming history records say, Bowen's death really is buried in his hometown Qingtian County. His hometown Qingtian County, Zhujiang is in the village of Summerhill Place. So if you're good to go there, indeed you can see a tomb Bowen. Next to a monument also mentioned that Chikming founding Taisher Lu Wencheng Cemetery. But this tomb, in fact, in the end is not the tomb of Liu Bowen. In fact, some people question why. Because this tomb was later 20-generation descendants of Liu Bowen, after the Republic of China was built. In fact, this is not the 20th century descendants. Know where the tomb He just according to Ming Dynasty in the records. Hill said that in the summer this place, so he specially from afar, came to this place to see. After seeing this place found, arable land has been turned into a family, so this loss for the 20th descendants. Also special court with each other. Court several times, only then to come back land good. So that under this farmland, there is also not known whether the tomb. In the process of arable land, there is no destruction of the tomb of Liu Bowen, so even let his bones exposed. Not known. Even if they really have a tomb, Liu Bowen buried beneath it really is, no one knows. So you're saying this place is the tomb of Liu Bowen? In fact, some people question, but there is no way to verify. Daifang's Hangfu have to wait until said excavation plan really dug the grave. There also remains detected. There remains enough even with the descendants of Liu Bowen, direct descendants to be doing DNA verification, able to confirm. Here the head is not a tomb, and inside the remains of the tomb was not Liu Bowen. If it can be found is a loss for words. To be able to further confirm that Bowen cause of death in the end was poison people, or really is dead. So talked about this place. Archaeological research in the future we will have to wait, the truth of the good to be able to. Then in folklore, there are particularly mentioned that Bowen's death also let the emperor double death. Why? People are dead. How to make it a double death emperor? And that brings us to say, Bowen during his lifetime his march to war art of war, wrote a book on military strategy called The Battle a Little Odd, also known as Battle Odd Method, but he did not subsequently hand it down. Before his death it burned. Why not burn his son to pass? Because he told his son, your lack of wisdom. This has the art of war will only get into trouble. Or not good, but the court will send someone to book. Well, like this. I also wrote a book called Yuan. You put me handwritten letters. With this Yuan wants to take cross. So then, Huiyong Zhu Yuanzhang sent condolence to the time. His son. This really put the Yuan with letters. Huiyong to take complex life. Zhu Yuanzhang get this strange battle law. Of course, his mind will produce pimple, it is said. In particular, he told his next successor, Emperor Hui Ming Zhu Yuanwen said heir. You've got to find a way. Bowen this battle odd method. Otherwise, I wasted step. Okay, we have to ask. The Ming Emperor Hui Zhu Yuanwen have not found yet. It is said that not found. But why then this book will do secular? Very interesting to say, since the late Ming Chuan Wan Li Zicheng. When the fall of Beijing, he was among a pile of debris. Yuan saw a book. Because it is written personally Bowen. He felt very precious brought it to read. During the read result in. There are actually found inside pages page. So he carefully. The inside pages it turned out, it was found that this battle is odd act. The original Bowen has long been the battle odd method. Showed the emperor, Zhu Yuanzhang just do not know what it, you do not know the true face of ions, is the battle odd method. Well, this is a good rumor spread. But this statement is true it. Some scholars be further research. Think says. This battle odd existing law of spread content. In fact, as early as the Song Dynasty, there has been a prototype, that this book is the prototype. Taolu World Law. Inside the world of military strategy mention law says, Southern Song Siafon was edited. The author has not test. If the same opinion that if, it should at least be on time to push. Northern Song Dynasty, the military strategy that the Bank Act. Later, when Yongjing was changed slightly odd battle. Title is written by Liu Base. In fact Qing Wei Tua. So this is now circulating. Battle odd battle law, have not had, Bowen made that the present. I guess that is personal like this. Bowen should have seen this one battle odd method. Then later he added his own war experiences. Does have its own battle-inflicted odd law. This method comes from the world of military strategy, but he later said that did worry. Leave this book on military strategy will bring troubles for generations to come, so then he really took it burned. Of course someone will ask, he would not just steal hide. I think it is unlikely to, not to mention he foresee his crafty plan, to say that he knew the character of the emperor. Know that the emperor will not stop at nothing. That if he really hide the book, later, after the emperor was known, it is not representative, he will be the whole clan with no offspring. You say there is no reason, so I think that says, this really Bowen. Plus their own experience of the battle a little odd, does not exist. But some people, someone might not know where to know what to say. The prototype method is the battle odd military strategy world law, would do such a modifier, I do not know whether you agree. So there is no so-called emperor. Therefore, wasted step, there is no so-called book. Later this world really, everything is purely imaginary posterity way too I do not know so much talk today. Image with the story of Liu Bowen. Whether subvert everyone's awareness. A careful bold hypothesis. Reasonable doubt subversion history. Chin Chiping subversion history. Hello, we see you next time.